Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, one of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9 to 5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps so you will have hand holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, let's face it. Today's internet world is so saturated and everyone is fighting for that number one spot to be visible. It is no longer about running ads and having thousands of people on your email list. It is about building relationships and networking with others to grow your business and become visible. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm a podcast launch strategist and I help service-based business owners develop and deliver their message to the world by using platforms like podcasting and bringing valuable content to those who need to hear what they have to say. Welcome to the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast. Awesome. Welcome back to a special episode of the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast with this audio video summit series, whatever you want to call it. I'm Candace. I'm the host of the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast, and I have Keri here. I'm so excited.
Hi, Candace. I'm excited. Sorry.
Hi. So a little bit about Keri. She is amazing. She is my audio content manager, whatever you want to call it for my podcast. She does it all. She is the one that makes the magic. So I'm the one that actually does the recording and she handles everything else. She is amazing. And I'm so happy to have her on the show today. So Keri, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
All right. Yeah. So thank you for having me, Candace. I'm so excited to be here with you. And, we've been working together for months now, and it's just been an awesome journey. And it's been incredible to watch your listenership grow. So what I do, I call myself a content manager. So I do a lot of copywriting, graphic design, some audio engineering, and I just take care of the things that business owners don't have time for. So anybody that needs copywriting for social media, I help, or for emails, or even landing pages. So it's just been a really great journey. And I started doing this in January full time. I quit serving a bartending job and I was able to go full time and be home with my 3 kiddos. That's kind of my little story in a nutshell. And here I am.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to have you. You have been really amazing for me and in my business and my podcast. And it has just been wonderful. And I'm telling everyone, if you don't have help, you can definitely try and do this on your own, but it is not going to last. I'm telling you, you definitely need that help, especially when it comes to your podcasting, because you definitely need a second pair of hands, eyes, ears, everything. You need a Keri. So get you one.
Right?
So how do you use your podcast to grow your business, or any advice that you give out there of people who can use their podcasts to grow their business?
Podcasting is an incredible tool. So in marketing, it's really all about creating that human connection and getting people to know, like, and trust you as fast as possible. The sooner that you can take someone from cold to warm, the sooner and faster you're going to be generating income. Podcasting is really real. I mean, obviously, everything that comes out of your mouth is straight from your heart. Most of the time you're doing interviews or you're speaking candidly, and that helps make you super relatable to your audience. And people can't help but begin to trust you and recognize that and have some kind of a relationship with you. And so podcasting is just kind of a fast track to letting people know who you are. Because when you are the one that people know, it really works in your benefit. So imagine what it would feel like if somebody was you had a friend and they knew what you did for a living because you had your podcast and because you had talked about it, and you guys, every time that you caught up, they were like, hey, how are things going? How's your podcast going? And you're like, oh, I love content managing. It's so much fun. And so they run into a new acquaintance and they start chatting and the same kind of thing goes on, and suddenly they find out that that person needs your services and they're like, oh my gosh, my friend does this, Candace helps launch podcasts. You want to start a podcast? I know exactly who to refer you to. I mean, it's like getting leads on autopilot. And so when you start building more and more bridges like that, all of a sudden you don't even really need that other marketing, because you have so many like limbs into the community, especially when you're interviewing people and like collaborating. That cross promotion just, it really impacts your marketing efforts because it speeds that up so quickly. Instead of taking years to build an audience, suddenly you've done it in a couple of months. So podcasting is an incredible tool to just kind of jumpstart that.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I really do. And you like at my podcast and everything, you see the number of people I actually interview and connect with, and it's just so amazing because I've had people that's just reached out to me and say, hey, do you want to be on my show at the end of the year? And I'm like, yeah, you don't have to ask me twice. So it is about building relationships and connection. And that's one thing that I do not teach is I do not teach monetizing. I don't teach monetizing because the thing of it is, and I have a episode where I talk about this more in detail, because when you start focusing on monetizing and the money is not coming in, you lose that message, that passion, that love that you wanted to start the podcast with. And it's like, you're like, well, I'm not getting money off of this, so I'm going to stop, or it's not coming fast because I'm not stopped. You missed the whole point. The whole point is to build a relationship and build that connection, have a platform so people can come on and actually, collaborate with you, have that one-on-one connection, like speed dating, speed networking, I should say. It's sort of like that. It's kind of like that in a way, the speed networking. They do have some like that here in Sacramento, but it gives that one-on-one where you can actually understand and know what each other do and build that relationship, that connection. And then that's when you stay top of mind. I tell people all the time about that. So I'm going to start rambling on because I love doing that. So what 3 takeaways you can give to the listeners on today?
So I would say one of the things that always holds people back is that they're afraid they don't have something to say, right? I would really encourage you to get out of that mindset. The sooner that you get started, the sooner that you're going to work through those mindset blocks, and all of a sudden you're going to have like downloads and ideas just coming from you. When you start interacting with other people and you start collaborating with them, you're going to get inspired and those ideas will start to flow. You are more powerful than you know. Stop holding yourself back. And if you feel called to podcast, it's probably for a reason. It's probably the platform that is going to take you to the next level. And you've just been ignoring that instinct because you're afraid. So that's, one of the first things that I would say is don't be afraid, even if it's terrible. It takes work to promote it at first anyway. And so by the time it starts getting big, then it's not going to be a problem because you're going to practice and you're going to get better at it. And your performance is going to get better and improve. So it just takes practice and, stop doubting yourself. Another takeaway. So I guess as an audio engineer, I'm going to go ahead and just touch a little bit on the tech side and all of that. I got my background in voiceover, and that was something that was like a huge learning curve. Audible has insanely high standards for their books, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to really learn, and I literally started in my basement. I had like blankets tacked up all around the walls so that I could get to the quality that they would actually publish my books. And so, I would say that instead of worrying about the microphone and all of the software and stuff like that, what you really need to focus on is your environment, because your environment has the biggest impact of anything. So you can go out there and spend $1,000 on a condenser microphone, and they definitely sell them at that price point. It's pretty common, actually. And you're still not going to get the awesome sound that you're looking for. You're still going to have echoes and all of that. So if you are really looking to get started right away and you need to do it on a budget, look up PVC frames and build a PVC frame and hang some drop cloths around it and just have a little studio, or go sit in your closet. Literally, it can be that simple. Go sit on the floor of your closet to record your episodes, because those clothes are going to grab all of that sound that's bouncing around the room and they're going to absorb it, and then you won't have that problem anymore. So That is definitely not something that can hold you back. If I did it, you can do it. I literally was in an unfinished basement in like a cellar, basically, and I just had pads everywhere. And I made a couple $1,000s off of some books that published on Audible. So podcasting standards are not nearly as high as that, and you can get the sounds that you want without investing a ton of money. Third takeaway, Candace and I were actually discussing this one because it's kind of funny. But it gets a little bit overwhelming when you have so much to learn, right? Because learning is like, it'll take up 80% of your time. Sitting down and recording a podcast or having an interview with somebody is like an hour a week tops, right?
Right.
The problem is when you don't know what you're doing and you have to figure out how to move forward, you can get really stuck on that. So I would just encourage you guys to skip the learning curve. You know, Candace and I can pretty much take care of anything that you have questions about. You know, we work together as a team. And so we're here for you. Make sure that you reach out with any questions, whether you're ready to invest in our one-to-one services and work with Candace on launching your podcast, or if you just need some tips and some resources, you know, we're a great place to start because we can really help you with all of that. So I would just encourage you to skip the learning curve. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't let yourself get stuck, and reach out for help if you need it.
Love it. We're going to drop the pen on this.
Right.
I think I made too much noise.
I should throw that in. When you're recording, try not to move too much because that can like throw things in there. Mess with your sound.
Yeah, and definitely get a good chair. So my chair, I have a nickname for it. It's called Squeaky because every time I move, it squeaks. So when I am like doing my interviews and everything with my guests, I'm sitting like really still. So those who are listening on audio, you guys can't see me, but those who are actually looking at the video, you can. So I'm like standing like, I'm literally like this and I want to write something down and I'm trying to not like, because my snowball microphone is very, very sensitive. So I'm sitting here and I'm like trying not to write as hard or move around. And when I want to get something, I'm like trying to get my coffee like this really slowly because my chair squeaks and I really need to get a new chair. I do. And I'm like, I know they can hear this on the audio. I know they hear my chair squeaking.
I love it. I've never heard your chair squeak, but I definitely hear your pen sometimes.
I'm about to move this thing all the way over here. Because I write hard and I didn't realize it was like actually like making that much noise. So I'm like, maybe I should start writing in pencil or something like that. But that is hilarious.
It is. It's great. I always hear you say, sorry, I'm taking notes. Give me just a second and we can hear your pen scratch, scratch, scratch. I love it. I love it. It just adds personality. You know, that's who you are. And I think that it really gives your podcast character. So, let's be you, be who you are and get vulnerable and let people know who you are, right? That's what it's all about.
That's right. I tell my guests all the time, I'm like, listen here. If your child running and screaming in the background, everybody know this is during the pandemic. Kids are at home. They're homeschooling. It's okay. Grab them. If they need to be pat, you can pat and then answer the questions at the same time. I'm like, we're at home, you know? It's not the point of being really strict about podcasts and we're humans, you know? If you cough, please. We're not going to edit that out.
Right. Well, and that's actually something that really held me back for a long time because I have 3 kids and I was like, how can I ever take meetings? And I would try to get babysitters and it was super stressful. And then I didn't have a choice and I realized the pandemic really kind of changed the game on that. And now I'm like, you know, the people that care are not the right people for me anyways. So I usually do my daughter's hair because she likes to come sit on my lap. But after a couple times, she stopped sitting in because she's like, wow, those meetings are boring, Mom. So she's 3 and she's just not interested anymore. And they pretty much leave me alone now. So
that's good. See, have them join the meeting, have them join the fun. And then after a while, they're going to leave Mommy alone because they're like, last time I was in there, it was boring. So no.
So true.
Oh my goodness. So where can everyone find you?
All right, so you can find me on social media at I am Keri Lonny. So that's my handle. I'm on Instagram mostly. I do have my website. It's kerilonny.com. That kind of is a fully encompassing landing zone for all of the things that I talk about. So I do talk about like working from home and being a mom and trying to like create a life that you love. And then I also offer my content management services over there. So you can find me there and you can find me on social and just reach out, you know, via DM or I guess you can email me. That's hello@kerilonny.com as well.
Awesome. We're gonna include those in the notes in the show notes, and we're gonna post it everywhere we can post it.
Awesome, awesome.
Hey, so happy you came on. It's so funny, everyone. You know, I was like looking for the third person, and I was like, oh, so I'm just gonna have to, you know, fill that position and just go with it myself and have only two people. But Keri really stepped up, and she was like, I think I can do it. I was like, all right, well, let's go.
I was so grateful. I was like,
Yes.
I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm going to ask anyways. And so I'm so grateful that you let me be here. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate all of the support. And I've loved being on this journey with you. So I'm just
Thank
excited for your
you.
success.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much. And I am as well for you. Everybody go find Keri and go get her service. She's awesome. She's amazing. You know, I vouch for her 100%. 100. She is so wonderful. So you guys go and look for her right now. All right. Hey, did you like this episode? Don't forget to subscribe and share. And also drop me a line or two. I will love to hear your feedback in the review. Thank you.